Have you ever been injured and it sends you down a spiral of depression, frustration, and struggle? Well, in this video, I want to share with you how to turn that struggle, that injury, that pain into a breakthrough. Hi, my name is Armando Cruz, and for the past 20 years, I've been a performance physical therapist helping men and women like you take struggle and turn it into breakthrough. In this video, I am going to break down 3 main things you need to get from that struggle into breakthrough. Before we dive a little bit deeper into that, let me share a quick story. When I was in college, I ran for a D1 school and I lived running. I ran twice a day, Monday through Saturday, and a 2-hour long run on Sunday. I was running and I was running a lot. And then something catastrophic happened. All my hopes and dreams came crashing down. I started seeing double. I couldn't even walk in a straight line. I ended up going to the hospital and they thought I had MS. Now, for months, I couldn't see straight without everything being blurry. So everything that I did depended on my sight. I had nothing in my world that didn't depend on my sight. And at the beginning, it was really frustrating. I saw my season slip away. I didn't even know if that was the end of my athletic career. But somewhere along the line, my father came to me and we started talking about music. And music wasn't something that I was really like part of my day, part of my life. But I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't read, I couldn't do anything with my eyes because it would give me a headache. Everything I was seeing was double. So he brought some bongos and he's like, why don't you play around with these? You can do it with your eyes closed. And at the very least, it gives you something to do. And so first day I started hitting these things and I was like, man, this sounds horrible. And it really did sound horrible. And then the next day, it sounded just as bad. But you know what happened is after a while, it didn't really matter whether it sounded good or not. There was a rhythm I was creating. I was trying to figure something out. I was problem solving and expressing myself in some way, shape, or form. And the reason I share this is that pain and injury often is a blessing in disguise. Not that it doesn't hurt, not that it's not a struggle, not that it's not an obstacle, and not that it's horrible, because in many cases it is. But I think that over the past 20 years, the athletes that have adapted have been the ones that have been most successful. And that's with anything in life. The better you adapt to life's curveballs, the better you will be at moving forward. Because when you're too rigid, you're invariably going to meet that resistance that you're not going to be getting around. And so, be like the bamboo tree and be able to sway. Don't be so rigid that all of a sudden the wind breaks you in half, right? Embrace the mindset of constraints and creativity. So I want you to embrace constraints. Here's what I mean by that. Constraints provide what seems like limitations, but think about it in these terms. Constraints actually help provide direction. And they, in many instances, provide a lot more clarity. Think about it like this. If I were to say, hey, what is easier, driving down the road or driving through a jungle? Easily the road. Why? Because you have everything cleared up and you have the constraints, you have the boundaries of the road and it's paved out and it's easy for you to go. Now, if you go through the jungle and you try to drive through that, what do you lack? You don't have any constraints. You can go anywhere you want, except you really can't because there is no guardrails, there's no constraints, there's no openings for you to drive through. And when you're in pain, when you're suffering, when you're struggling, those constraints can be a blessing, but it all starts with this right here, your mindset. If you have the mindset of a champion, champions are able to adapt, they embrace constraint. I want to give you this 3-step structure for thinking about it. Number 1, is reflect on the constraint. You have to look at what's going on. You have to see for what it is and not make it more than what it is. Number 2, you need to now embrace, you need to accept it and say, okay, I'm taking this on. And then number 3, now you have a platform where you can start creating. a few years back, I decided that I wanted to open up my ability to draw a little bit more. And I've tried drawing in the past, and sometimes it's very difficult. Like, what do I draw? Like, you sit down and you stare at a blank paper and, you got a million other things you got to go. And I took a different approach. I said, for 1 year, I'm going to draw a wolf every single day. What do you mean, a wolf? Yeah, a wolf. I decided on a wolf for 1 year. And so every day I drew a picture of a wolf. I had no idea how to draw a wolf. So day one, I looked at some reference and I tried to copy it. And it looked horrible. Day two, I tried to do it again. It came out a little bit better. Day three, I did it again. 365 days. You know what happened after 365 days? Number one, I got a lot better at drawing a wolf. But number two, because I knew I had to draw a wolf, I started getting creative. I remember for Thanksgiving, I drew a wolf with a turkey body. And it sounds silly, but it opened the door for some level of creativity. I drew some wolf logos that I even had a company reach out to me and say, wow, hey, can we collaborate on this? I drew wolves behind, like in the wild. I drew parts of a wolf. So then you start, man, all right, I've drawn the wolf face, I've drawn the wolf, the entire wolf. Okay, I started focusing on different parts. So I started focusing on the eyes. How do we amplify the eyes of the wolf? And now we started looking at the wolf in a little bit different way. Well, the same thing goes for when you're in pain. If you can now reflect, first of all, what's going on? I have now a little bit more time. Why do you have a little bit more time? Because you now can't be go, go, go because you're in pain or you're injured. And now you can't do the things that you wanted to do. So you have a little bit more time to reflect. And it's up to you on what you're reflecting on. If what you're reflecting on is poisoning you because you're thinking about all the things you're missing out, or you're thinking about all the things you can't do, or you're thinking about how you're so dumb for doing whatever happened that you got the injury in the first place, none of that is really gonna help. But if you take the time to reflect on, hey, what are the things I'm grateful for? Hey, what are things I've always wanted to do that now that I have everything slowing down a little bit more, that I can take time to start doing them? All of a sudden, it starts opening doors. Once you start opening doors, you finally gravitate to something, embrace it. You say, okay, I'm going to take that on. And now you start looking for the creative component. When you start creating, you start growing. In fact, I want to rewind for a second. I want you to remember that constraints equal creativity. When you have constraints, it opens the door for creativity, and creativity opens the door for growth. When you are creating, by nature, you are growing, you are expanding yourself because you're stretching the limits of what reality is. And when you can do that, all of a sudden, life starts changing because you can now start shifting this negative experience into something positive, something that can actually help you. You can take those principles and apply it. Once again, I want you to embrace this pain, this injury as an opportunity for growth. And while it sucks being there, this could be a gift that can shift you from being your regular self into being an extraordinary self. All it takes is that shift into that champion's mindset. I hope you found this helpful. If you haven't done so, check out these videos up here. They could really make the difference between staying in pain and getting out of pain. I've been Armando Cruz, and I'll catch you on the next one.